All right. Welcome to tonight's Faber-Castell Design Memory Craft Ustream. I'm Jen Matott, and I'm going to be showing you how to make some real fun gift, thankful gift ideas for maybe your guests at Thanksgiving or for the holidays, any holidays. For those of you around the world who aren't here in the U.S., you could use this for any thank you gift. Or even a holiday gift. But these are this is one of them. It's a little box, you can see. And we're going to decorate it with Faber-Castell products and some cutout paper leaves. So I'm going to show you that. And then I got a couple little baggies here. This one says thankful with a little masked bird, and I'll show you how to do that. And then we got this one. This one says Happy Thanksgiving. So you can see these. All right. And so I'm going to pan down so you don't look at me the whole time. You want to look at what we're actually doing. And I'll move these out of the way as soon as I pan down, and we'll talk a little more later. Or as I go, actually. I'm not talking. So, I got my wax stuff here in the way. Okay, there we go. All right, so you can see our little gift baggies here, and we'll just do one at a time. I'm going to show you some different techniques that I used on these to decorate them and also embellish the little toppers there. All right, so I'm going to move these out of the way. I'll show you that in a little bit. Finished ones. And this is what they look like to start with. So these are just some little blank gift bags that you can find at any craft store. And this one's white, and then this one is just the craft one. It's very thick. I think I got these at a craft store. And then here's another little flat box. You could actually, if you had a Cricut or any of those die cutters, you could cut out any number of interesting shaped boxes to decorate with the same technique. Okay, so we're going to get started right away because we got lots to do. We got 3 of these to decorate tonight and get embellish, plus the leaves. So actually we're going to do that first. I'm going to do the leaf designs first. Yes, because that's what I want to have dry before, so we're ready with those. And we're going to be using the Design Memory Craft Mixed Media Kit in tropical colors. So I have the 4 tropical colors that the kit comes with to use, and also the Texture Luxe in Pearl. So you can see that. These are beautiful colors, but I'm also going to add in a few other colors because, of course, I have to have my favorites in here. So I wanted a metallic color, so a couple of metallic colors. So I picked metallic melon, and I also picked some darker colors to add in because it is a fall-ish project. But you could add in the gold gelatos or anything depending on what your holiday or your purpose of your thank you gift or a little gift box or bag, and that would be fine. So I'm using black cherry and iced coffee as an add-in for this. And then I'm also going to do some fun things with the Texture Luxe. So I have the pearl, and then I have the gold. So we'll be using a little bit of that. Okay, so we're going to get started. Yes, these are from what we're giving away, so you guys will be able to make it with the same colors, except the add-ins that except the fall ones, yeah, because I added those in just to do a little fallish color scheme. Okay, so we're going to start with the leaves. Now, I made a bunch of these already, and I'll show you how I did it. So it was kind of tedious. If you have a die cutter, it would probably be easier after you decorate the paper to die cut it. I hand cut mine because I wanted specific shapes that I didn't have in my cartridges. So you could see these would make a lovely table embellishment as well as embellishing the gifts. And I actually am going to string these up for my mantle so that I have a little bit more decoration. I had a lot. I cut a lot out, so I have extras. All right, so I'm going to start with my lightest color first, just so it doesn't get overpowered by the other colors initially. And so this is the margarita mix, and it's kind of a lime greenish, like very yellow green color. And I'm just going to add the color to parts of the paper. And actually, before I do that, I'm going to stamp some text on here. And what I did is I stamped some text with brown Stamper's Big Brush pen. And this, I think this is a Prima stamp that I'm using, but you could use any, text stamp. So all I'm doing is just using the side of the Stamper's Big Brush pen, and I'm just gonna add it on here. It'd be pretty with any colors. I just happen to like the brown, and that's what I had in front of me, so that's what I'm using. I also love the black and the warm grays as well. So I'm just gonna do this in a couple places. Now, you don't need to fill the whole thing because all your leaves are going to look a little different, and depending where you cut them out, you're going to get a little bit of this and a little bit of that. So it's kind of a fun mixed media look when you have some random text coming in. And I even stamped it twice, and you can see that it had a little bit of a ghost image there. I have something on my lens, sorry. Little water spot. Must have got crazy when I was creating the other day and splattered it. Alright, so all I'm doing is just stamping a little here and a little there. And then I'm just going to give it a shot with the heat gun just to make sure it's completely dry before we add water and have it run, because the India ink is permanent when it dries, but it is workable while it's not quite absorbed all the way. So I just want to make sure it's completely dry and absorbs into the paper. This paper I'm using is what is it? Oh man, I can't think of what it is. It's a mixed media paper, kind of a watercolor paper. This is from Marco's paper, his aquarelle watercolor paper. I love it. It's so thick. It's a rag. It has 100% rag content and real thick and beautiful, and it doesn't buckle that much when it gets wet. So it's my favorite kind of paper to use in my projects. So I'm just kind of scrubbing a little bit here and giving a little bit there, and I'm not really worried about perfection, because I am going to add water to this and kind of blend it together. So I'm just going to mix in all the colors that I like. And you could even start adding water, and then if you decide you want more color, you can go right in on the wet surface. Alright, a little bit of the pinks. I want some metallic, so I'm going to use the melon. Metallic melon. It's so creamy. Love it. So right now I'm just kind of getting some areas of color. I love this raspberry too. It's very purple, like magenta purple. Okay. Alright, so now I'm just going to, actually I think I'm going to just spray it a little bit with some water and let it puddle. And then use my brush to kind of help move some of the colors around and mix them. So don't worry about it getting really puddly and wet, because this paper will hold up to it. So any kind of watercolor mixed media paper will really hold up to a lot of scrubbing with your brush and adding a lot of water. Cardstock won't hold up as well. So if you're going to do something with a lot of mixing of water and the mediums, then you probably would want a heavier, thicker paper. And you'll have to plan accordingly if you're going to cut your leaves on a die cutter, because you'll need a thicker setting, or double, I don't know how it works. It cuts it multiple times. All right, so I'm really getting some mixing of the colors and puddling together to make different hues and values and blends. Love how some of even the complementary colors are going to add a little bit of brownish tones to it. This is fall after all, so I wanted these colors to mix and make that kind of thing happen. I'm a big fan of kind of just seeing what happens and not worrying about perfect outcomes, because you're going to get some gorgeous things happening. I think that's why I love teaching the little kids so much, is that they are not afraid to just go in and mix colors and make things happen. It's so much fun. Oops, I missed the water container. All right, so I'm kind of doing this now. I'm going to tip my paper and allow things to really kind of run together. This is fun. It's very, very pretty with the colors, but I'm going to just tip it and let some of it mix naturally when they blend. All right. Ooh, I really like that. Kind of reminds me of like a wet fall day like we had today. Cool. The colors of the leaves blending together in the rainy, wet ground. Okay. Now this is going to take a little bit for this to dry, so I'm going to give it a minute to sit, and then I'm probably going to dry the rest with the heat gun. Okay, so I'm going to let that sit. I'm going to put it aside while we work on the boxes, or the bags, and then I'll come back to that. Okay, so next we're going to work on the little box one first, because I'm going to use the Texture Luxe on top, and that will take a little bit to dry too. But I'm going to use the same colors, and if you take a look at this, you can see how I use the margarita mix in the background. I have a little bit of purple of the dark black cherry, and then some of the iced coffee is dripping down here. All right, I even did, I did margarita mix, and I think a little bit of the raspberry in there. So that's what we're going to use. We'll leave it right here so we can see it while we're doing it. Okay, I really like this margarita mix. It's just, oh, I know, the drippy. I've seen people talking about the dripping thing. The drippage is very cool. It's very this becomes very much like a watercolor effect. And it's very liberating. Just let it drip wherever you want it, wherever it goes. You get what you get. You can control it a little bit. All right, so for this one, I'm not going to add water right yet. I'm going to use my finger to blend the color. And because it's a craft colored paper or box, it is going to tone down my colors just a bit. So, because it kind of neutralizes it with the brown of the craft background. You know what? Maybe I think I'm going to use that metallic melon on here too, because I think metallics tend to really show up well on a darker background. Okay, so I'm just getting some of this green. As you can see, I don't really have a plan. I'm just kind of playing with the color, blending with my fingers. So I have a dirty fingers. The Texture Lux is not like the Low Flow Liquitex. It's very rich and creamy, but you can water it down too. So you could make it, you know, a little more flowing, and I'm going to show you that in a little bit. The margarita mix. No, I mean the gelato colors. Yes. Although that would be really yummy right now, a margarita, but not this late at night for me. I have to get up early in the morning. Alright, so I'm just doing the back. I'm not going to do a whole lot on the back because, you know, it's going to be sitting on the back, so you really don't need it. But I just, you know, when they flip over the little gift, you want it to look somewhat matching to the front and not just plain. Although plain's okay too. I just prefer to have it all matching together. So I'm just giving it a little bit of some of that greenish color. Now I'm going to add, I think I'm going to try to add some of this metallic melon. Let's see what happens. Ooh, that's pretty. So it has a little bit of a metallic look to it with that. Yes. No, I don't. I don't have any free time, honestly. It's so bad right now that I'm forgetting things, words, everything. So I'm kind of going to have to slow down in a little bit. I really can't wait for Thanksgiving, because that will be my time to catch up and get, you know, just take a deep breath, because I can't yet. I got too much going on right now. I have a lot of thank you things to give out, so I have a lot of need for these little boxes and bags. I can't wait to surprise somebody with a little gift inside. All right, so I'm kind of just giving it a little fun color, and then we're going to do some more drips, my favorites. Oh, I love dripping down there. And these gelatos, oh, they just, with the water, they drip so beautifully. They blend so well dry with your finger or with a applicator. They're just so multi-purpose. So many different ways to use them. Okay, I think I got some good color going on here. All right, so here's how I do the drips on this container. But before I do that, before I do the drips, I am going to add one thing to it. I have some of the mixed media stencils that we have in our stencil kit, in our mixed media kit, and I have to take a drink. Excuse me. And I'm going to use a little foam applicator to add some of the purplish color in here, the raspberry for the background. And how I'm going to do that is I'm just going to color on a non-stick surface. So I'm doing it right here on my acrylic block here. And I'm going to pick it up with the foam applicator that comes with the kit. And I want it pretty purple. So I'm going to continue to add some more of that. Okay, and then I'm just going to put it in here. This one is a little stiff. I don't know what I used on here. I must use something. I'm going to use a different one. Take more. Here we go. Yes. Sometimes I use them in mediums and then they dry stiff. And I forget to label what I use. Or clean it. I should clean it. I'm not very good at cleaning. Alright, it's not working very well over top here. Here we go. We'll do this. Alright, so when you use it, it's going to give you a little bit of a purple effect in here. So I'm just kind of spreading it around. Picking up some more color. It's not super bright. It's going to be a little more subtle because it's on top of the green. But it'll show up when we're all done. I'll show you. And one more. Okay, so got a little under there, got a little excited. So now I just got a little banner underneath, so it'll be the kind of the background. All right, next, now is the drippage time. Now it's time for dripping. So we are going to use the black cherry and some of the iced coffee. And I'm coloring on this here, and then I'm going to pick it up with my brush. So I'm going to take a wet brush and add water. Something to this one. And then as I take it from the brush, I'm going to tip this and allow it to drip. So you can really control where you put it. You can't always control where it's going to drip, but you can get the area and how much you want. And if you want them to drip all the way down or part way down, depending on if you tip it, how much you tip it. Okay, so I'm just getting some of this color in here. It's almost like you're wiping it on the edge. And then it just drips right down. Just like that. Alright, now I'm going to dry this. Oh, I got some on the back, which is cool too. With the heat gun, because I'm going to show you how I mix the color, the gelatos, with the Texture Lux. So we'll explore that. That's fun. The raspberry is gorgeous. It's very... Oh, raspberry would be pretty for Christmas stuff. Sure would. Nowadays, Christmas, you could include any colors. Like raspberry and lime green would be really pretty combination. So these two colors together with maybe gold or silver, it would be really pretty. Holiday-ish. Yeah, I like this big acrylic block. It's just, it's skinny. I think it's Stampendous. Pretty sure. It's flat and it wipes off really easily with baby wipes, so I really like it. And it travels well, so I can take it with me. We used them, I think, at CHA too, when we were demoing. Okay, so here's what we have so far. And now I'm going to do the snow cone. Okay, so we're going to use the snow cone, and I'm going to make this. If I hold this up, you can see how metallic this is. All right, so it's the snow cone mixed with the Pearl Texture Lux. All right, so we're going to do that. That is really fun and pretty to do. So I'm going to move this out of the way. Because the Texture Lux alone is metallic. Ooh, you can see I've used a lot of this one. Let me hold it up. As you can see, I'm going to grab my palette knife. And it's very creamy. Very creamy. Very rich and creamy. So I'm going to mix this with the snow cone. So I'm going to put some on the palette, or on my palette. And I'm going to chop off some of the snow cone. And the more you add, the more vibrant the color is going to be. It's going to tone down a little bit because the pearl is, it's a neutral, almost silvery, but it's very much lighter. You could mix it with silver. It's just going to neutralize the color a little bit more, create more of a cool color. Just as gold will make it warmer. So just it's kind of like mixing frosting until all the little speckles are gone, and I mixed all the color. And I think I want it a little brighter, so I'm going to add a little more. There we go. So just smush it in there. This is one of my favorite techniques. I do this with the whip spackle. I do it with the texture lux, just to create your own color for your projects. If you mix it with the silver lux, it's just going to tone it down more. It's going to be more cool, a more cool color, pastel color. This does make it pastel, but the silver does a little bit more neutral. Like it won't be as vibrant as the pearl when you mix it. Okay, so now I'm going to use this stencil from the mixed media kit, the Fleur de Lis, and I'm going to do down the side a little bit, kind of distressed looking. I'm going to turn it upside down because that's how I'm looking at it. And you just press it through with the palette knife. So I'm going to just do that throughout here. You could scrape it thinner or make it really thick and textured. And when you pull it off, you'll have a raised, very metallic look to it. And this one the first one I used probably a little bit more of the snow cone. It's a little darker. And this one is just a little bit more pastel, but it's very metallic. You could see, ooh, that's a good one. Good shot. See? So I got a little bit too excited right here. I got a little too much there. I can wipe that away. Yeah, my palette. If you get it somewhere you didn't want it, you can just wipe it right off. All right, baby wipes. Where did I put the baby wipes? Here they are. Baby wipes are a good, quick way to clean up your tools, especially when you need to do it fast and you don't want to run to the sink. My house must be very dry because things are drying very fast lately. We turn the heat on and everything dries up. Usually it takes a little time for the Lux to dry. I think it takes longer than it would for the whip spackle. I can speed it up a little bit with the heat gun, just being careful that you don't hold it too close too long, because it will, it is an acrylic medium, so it will bubble up a little bit. If that's not what you want, then you don't want to hold your heat gun there very long. Sorry, I'm all sniffly. I feel like It came on so fast. All right, put that away. I just decorated my craft mat here, wiping the texture licks off. All right, man, I'm making a big mess here. Big mess all over me. All right, so let's dry this a little bit so we can move on. It is very cool, the 3D. Yeah, you can remove the oops if you need to. So it might be dry to the touch, but it because it's thick, it's going to take a little while to really completely dry. So maybe we'll do our bags while I'm waiting for this to dry a little bit more. We'll work on our bags and let that dry for just a second more. I'm going to put it behind me. And our watercolor paper, it's doing pretty well. It's still a little wet, but it's looking good. Oh, it stamps. I'm using the Prima. This is a Prima stamp. I'm not sure. I can't remember what line it came with. It was an older line, probably a couple CHAs ago. And I have stamps from Studio Calico that I'm going to be using, the Thankful, and Amuse stamps with the sentiments. But you could use any sentiment stamps. Those are just the ones I'm using for this project. And the brand of watercolor paper, it's the Aquarelle mixed media paper from Marco's Paper. He has a store online, but he goes to a lot of the stamp and scrapbooking shows. I've demoed with him, and this paper is by far the best paper I have ever used with water media. And it really doesn't buckle. You can see it's really flat. It's not buckling a whole lot. I mean, any paper is going to buckle a little bit when it gets wet and you're drying it, but this one stays pretty flat. If this was a cardstock, it would be like, woo, woo, wavy. Yeah, I know he definitely sells it. Greg from Marco's Paper, he definitely sells it on the website, I believe. You can get it. He's out of Ohio, but he will ship to you. Marco's Paper. And again, I'm using the colors and the mediums from the Mixed Media Tropical kit that you can find at Barnes & Noble. Alright, it's getting there. Still pretty, a little damp, but not bad. Alright, so we'll just let that one sit for a little bit longer, but I got the puddles done. It's not puddly anymore. Alright, we're going to do an easy bag. This is a very easy one. You can make a lot of these very quickly. This one, we're going to do the little white bag. Okay, so this is probably one of the simplest techniques. There's probably 4 steps. That's it. Okay, so here we go. We are going to use the white bag on here, and I'm going to use the bird stamp, or bird stencil. And all I did, and you can see here, when I put this on here, I did the bird on the branch, and I stamped over it first. Okay, so you're going to use that same stamp that we used on the watercolor paper. And I'm going to ink this up with the Stampers Big Brush pen in brown. Nougat. It's nougat. Nope, walnut brown. I lied. Sorry. This one's walnut brown. There's one called nougat too that's good. It's a brown. Okay, so then I'm going to stamp over the stencil, making sure I press right where that bird was. Okay, and if I missed any place, I could just go in. Because this is a text stamp that you don't really need to read, it's good. Okay, and I'm just going to give that a shot of air to dry it before I add the next layer. So I stamped over it first. And now I'm going to use my little foam applicator and apply color through my stencil, which I moved. Oh, always the case. All right, close enough. You could also tape it down if you didn't want it to move. But I'm going to use the snow cone. And I'm going to use my big fat applicator because I like it. I don't know where I got it, but I like this one. And it picks up a lot of color, so I don't have to keep reapplying. But you just go over the stencil, holding it really still. Sometimes I gotta reapply though. And we're gonna have a nice little blue bird here. Okay, so I went through the stencil. So stamped first, and then I picked up the snow cone and went through the stencil with it. And now you've got your birdie on your back. Okay. And then one last fun tip that I did with this, and I'm not sure you can actually see it. Maybe you can if I hold it up at an angle. Can you see the gold flecks there? All right. Well, I'm going to use the gold Texture Luxe watered down and flick it on there to give it some gold shimmer. All right. So you're going to take a little bit of the gold Texture Luxe. I'm not going to use a lot. Very little. Put it on here. Ooh, that's a lot. I'm going to take like half that. There. And I'm going to spritz some water to water it down. And it will still retain that gorgeous shimmer. It just won't be as creamy. So spritzing. It's going to turn it into like a flow, a little bit of a flowing liquid. Can you see that? It's very shimmery. So pretty. And then I'm just going to flick with this brush. This comes in the kit too, this little stipple brush. And I just picked up some of the gold and I'm flicking it with my finger, just pulling back and letting go. And it creates a little speckled effect. So you can see. You see the speckles there? Very shimmery. And they'll be so shimmery when they dry too. It's so gorgeous. I love this Texture Luxe. You could do it with the pearl and the silver too. It works the same way. So gorgeous. All right, so that's an easy, real easy one, and then I just stamp my sentiment on there. Let me grab, I think I did, oh, I'll just do that. I did think though. This is it's a Studio Calico one from a long time ago, 2009. I keep stuff forever, my favorite stuff. And now I gotta find a stamp block that's not being used. There. Okay. And I'm just using the Stamper's Big Brush pen. I love these babies. They're so juicy. You can see. And I'm gonna just stamp it just above the bird. Perfect. Look at that. Thankful. All right. So when you're ready to decorate this little baggie, you put your little candies or your little gifty in there, whatever you're going to put in. Maybe a little handmade something that goes in. And when I did this, I'm going to cut out my leaf, but I just used a gold doily, or you could use a craft colored one. I used my last gold one, so I'm going to use a craft colored one for this one. And you just fold over your top of your bag, and you fold the doily over however much you want showing, or how you don't want to cover up your little word there. So, and then I got these little banner pieces from Donna Downey. I think they still sell them at Hobby Lobby. You could still find them. And I just added that in there with the leaf, my little leaf that I cut out, which I'll show you how to do that in a minute. And a little tiny little craft clip. A little clippy thing. So I'm just going to take one of my leaves, and I just kind of crunched it up a little to give it some depth. Oops. And then I just paper clipped, or clipped it all on there to create my little leaf, my little decorative bag. Super easy. How easy would that be? You could make a whole table full of those. You could have one at each place sitting. Isn't that cute? Very cute. That one I love because it's so easy and I can make lots of them fast. Okay, so the final bag that we have to do is this one, the craft one. This one I did somewhat the same way. I'm using some of the same techniques. I'm going to use the Texture through a stencil too, and also some of the gelatos through there, but I also stamped on the bag with the text stamp again. So again, you could lay out a bunch of these and do them like assembly line, and just, you know, do the stamp part and then do your gelatos and then go back in and embellish. Super fast and easy, and you'll be done with your table decorations for whatever holiday you want, or maybe you're doing some kind of celebration, somebody's retiring or something. This would be a great little table favor, as well as a place sitting. The gold doilies, I can't remember where I got them. I'm pretty sure that I got the gold ones at Target, I think. I don't know. It was in the party section. And then, but you could color, get white ones and just color whatever color you want. Yep. I love that idea with the gelatos. They are amazing. Yeah, stamping right over the stencil. You get the positive from the negative space. It's awesome. All right, so I just stamped with the text here randomly. Again, random. I'm all about random. And now I'm going to add my gelato colors. And I'm using this, oh, no, this one, I lied. We're using this banners from the same kit. And you can see I already used it once, but I'm going to use this 3 times. So I'm going to do the raspberry color first. Really like this raspberry color. Okay, and don't have a clean foamy thing. I think I used this one. This. So I'm just picking up some of that color, and I'm going to rub it on there, but I also think I'm going to add some right to this with my finger for more intense color. Okay, not bad. There we go. And then I'm going to do it again, making sure it's wiped off with a different color. So let's see, what color do I want? I did the metallic one last time. Maybe I'll do the dark black cherry, just because I like it, and it's a purple version. So go through that with this. And I want to add some more. Use my fingers. And because the gelatos are so creamy and just smooth, they just blend perfectly. Love it. All right. So I have raspberry and I have the black cherry. So purples. Okay. Now I'm going to add the Texture Luxe. And I'm just going to do it straight from the container. I'm not going to mix. You could mix it with whatever color you want if you want to. But for this one, I'm just going to do it directly. It's just going to stay pearl color. So I'm just going to take some. It's a little dried out. I guess I need some more pearl. So I'm going to just push it through, even, and then pull this off. Yep, I got a little blob. I wasn't very careful. See, I get excited when I'm pushing it through here, and then I got a little extra. I can just wipe that right away. And we're going to embellish over it anyway, so it's good. It's all good. Okay, I'll hold this up. You can see the 3 little banners. 2 I applied directly with the gelatos, and this is the Texture Luxe. And you can see it's very shimmery, very thick. All right. So for this one, yes, I stamped more. So I need to dry this because the Texture Luxe will smear everywhere if I don't. Because I'm a messy artist. And it takes me very little time to smear things. Yeah, the stencils, I have coated them with the gel medium, and they do last longer. You can wipe them with the baby wipe, and they will be good to go. If I wipe them now without being protected with the gel medium, they get a little warped when you wipe them with the wet thing. Ooh, that bubbled. See what happens when I talk? I talked and now I bubbles. But that's kind of cool. I don't know if you can see that. You see the bubbles that happen? Oops. I held it a little too close. That is okay. It's kind of fun. It's like bubble wrap. All right, so I'm going to stamp some kind of, oh, you know what I'm going to stamp? I'm going to stamp this little berry thing stamp. This is from, I'm trying to remember. Why is this not focusing? Come on. Let me focus it again. Yeah, it doesn't want to focus. All right, well, I'm going to stamp this onto here with the brown. And I'm trying to remember, I think this is Amuse Studio. Yep, Amuse Studio is the stamp, if you're wondering. I have a friend that sells Amuse, so she taunts me with new stamps. I love stamps. I think I collect stamps more than I use them, but I have my favorites. Okay, so I'm just stamping this little, I don't know, it's some kind of little berry branch. In a couple different heights. There. And then, of course, I need my little Happy Thanksgiving. I'm going to stamp that on there. You know, the bubbles really were kind of cool. I was talking and holding it in one place. Try to move it around. That's your warning if you don't like the bubbles, but I think they were kind of fun. All right, here's one that says Happy Thanksgiving. All right, and then I just embellished it with the leaves, but before I do that, we have to cut the leaves. So I'm going to show you that. Here's how I did this. Now you could totally do this on a die cutter. You want to make sure that your paper is completely dry before you put it in a die cutter, or it'll just shred it. Okay. I am not going to do that. It would work actually really well with like a Cuttlebug or one of those elephant cutters or anything like that. Not the electric ones, but the ones that you crank. Because then you don't have to worry about that. I love my Cuttlebug because of I can put any thickness of paper through it and not worry about it. I always worry about the ones that cut with the electric because they may not stick down enough. It just drives me crazy. So this is how I do it. Okay, the old-fashioned way. What I did is, and you were all like, oh, you freehand cut that? No, I did not freehand cut it. I used some templates. I found some leaf templates online, and I printed them on my printer. It was a whole page of them. And then I printed them out, cut them out, and then I will trace them and cut them out on here. So I can really fit as many as I want or can fit on here. So I just trace around my little handmade template. You could totally trace real leaves if you wanted to. This paper's just still a little bit damp. It's okay. I think the pencil's still working. This took me, a little bit of time, but if you do a bunch of them, and then you'll have them ready to go, so you can just embellish your bags. It's good, or just cut them on the die cutter. Okay, so I just traced it, and so if I, have a specific leaf I like better than others, I can try to fit more of those on there. I like that I'm not wasting as much paper because I really can move them around and figure out where I want it. So I just traced all my leaf shapes on the back, and then I just cut them all out. Okay, and then I already did that ahead of time so that we didn't waste time here. And you saw my finished ones. Okay, so there's another one. But see, I can really fit these into little crevices here. Or you could just do some wonky freehand ones. Okay, so see, that's what I did. And then I cut it out. And here they are. You can see this one I had some leftover pearl with the mixed colors, so I added that onto my paper before I cut it. And these all came out so pretty. Look at this. I love this one. You can see that one really close. So gorgeous. So these will look really pretty. Oh, and you could use your stencils to add a little bit of the gelato through a stencil on there. I love this one with the drips. See the margarita mix. All right, so you can really embellish. You could even do a bunch of these and sprinkle them out on your table runner for decoration. And then everybody will ooh and ah over your beautiful handmade leaves. So here's the bag, and I just put another little, smaller white doily over it, and I put 3 little leaves with the little clip. That way it's really easy. People can open them and get their little goodie out, and they can keep their little leaves if they want, or add them to the table design. This one I tied, actually I put a doily, and then I just used some twine to tie a few times around. You can see that I wrapped it around a few times. Tied it, and then I just tucked some of the leaves underneath. And then you could add a little tag with thank you. I think I had a tag, but it fell off. Yep, here it is. I have a little tag that I stamped thank you on with the Stampers Big Brush pens, and you could just glue that or tuck that in with your leaves. For or have somebody's name. It could be a little name tag for place settings. All right, so that's that. Yeah, I think they would be so cute on top of a plate, you know, at each setting, and people would feel like, wow, did they really made all these for me? So special. With little treats inside. You could have a little handmade something, or a little some Hershey Kisses, or you know, some little treat for your guests or for teachers. I'm a big fan of teacher gifts. These are really nice. Thankful for our teachers and our vets, our veterans. All right, and there we have it. Super easy. It took, well, because I was talking, it took about an hour, but you could make a bunch of them in no time flat, because you could just have an assembly line to do that, and have a bunch for your guests. All right, so I'm gonna pan back up. Hello again, and I hope you enjoyed our little fall thankful gift ideas. Super cute with the gelatos and the colors. And we will pick some winners. Did we pick winners already? Oh, yeah, we did. Who did we get? Christina. Nice. You guys are lucky. Congratulations. I'm going to stop the recording. I want to say thank you very much for coming to and viewing our Ustream. If you have any questions, or you want to see more, stop by the Design Memory Craft blog, and you can see a lot of other projects, and also on our Ustream, many other fun ideas from our other designers who have given you some awesome classes. And I really appreciate you coming by tonight, and I want to say thank you.